Snoop Dogg, the Guinness Book of World Records, networking in the music industry, and black eyed peas. Just a few of the topics we're covering on today's episode of Cooking Backstage. As far as I know, my name is still Mark Watson. I hope everyone had a great Christmas. I certainly got spoiled with all kinds of new cooking toys, and I got some new Cooking Backstage swag. Thanks to my family and to Jen over at the Bruce Peninsula Co. Our guest today is Dwayne Gibson, aka D.O. He's an award-winning rapper who's toured all over the world and has released 8 studio albums. He's also the founder of a new urban music conference that takes place here in Toronto, and he is an author. Dwayne is a hard-working guy. He's always got a project on the go, and he's just a fun guy to be around. Now, this was a hard episode for me, because up until now, I was the king, in my own mind, of barbecue chicken. My mom would ask for it on her birthday, my aunt would call me for the recipe, the kids would beg for it.
Dad, will you please make your barbecue chicken?
Please, Dad. Mom's pasta's undercooked. We need a better option. We need barbecue chicken.
But then, along comes D.O., and I got thrown off my own throne. Now, I fully admit he has the better chicken, but it still hurts. For those of you who are too sensitive to go out in the cold and barbecue, or maybe you don't have access to a barbecue, you can easily make this in the oven. I've done it several times on a baking sheet. It turns out great. Thank you to our sponsor, High Performance Management Solutions, and please subscribe, hit that like button, hit the bell. Now get ready for the new best barbecue chicken. All right, I'm here with Dwayne Gibson, aka D.O. He's in the house. Well, he's actually in my backyard, and we're in the rain, but that's not going to stop us. And I got a face for radio, so I'm going to get behind the camera, and I'm going to let this guy do it. You all set?
Oh yeah.
All right, let's do it. All right, thanks again for doing this, man. So what are we making? What's in it?
All right, let's start with the barbecue chicken. So we got some chicken right here, some beautiful boneless chicken thighs.
Got those from a local butcher this morning. They're not a sponsor, but they're J&G Meats here in Burlington.
I was going to say, it looks nice and fresh, so that's always good to see. You always want to have fresh chicken, though. That's a key. And then we got a little spice mixture here, too. So we got some chili powder, some cumin, some smoked paprika. I don't know if I told you any other ones in there, but those are the key ones.
They'll be in the description below.
Yeah, they'll be in there. So, it's all about just getting a little bit of smokiness in there. I like the little twist with that cumin that gives you, and of course you want that chili to give you that barbecue essence. Smoked paprika is always nice. So those are my keys with that. Salt and pepper, because that's going to work with everything that we have. After, the other thing with the barbecue chicken, as we close that off, is we got some beautiful barbecue sauce right now. So that's going to be going on the top at the end. And when we start with the rice and peas, I mean, you'd think we were starting with the rice. Of course, we have some rice here. But I like to start with some garlic. Heat up the garlic a little bit. Heat up some red chili flakes too. Just gives a little bit of flavor, a little spice in there. And then we got some chicken broth. You could use water, but why not get a little bit more flavor infused in there? So I got the chicken broth. And then coconut milk. So this is going to thicken things up, give it a little bit of depth of flavor. So that's going to be the rice and peas there.
Awesome.
And finally, we're going to finish things off with a vegetable, some coleslaw. So with the coleslaw, I'm going to put a little bit of mayonnaise in there. I like putting a little bit of honey in there, and Dijon mustard.
Yeah.
First thing, we're going to season the chicken. It's really important to season your chicken. You don't want to just throw the chicken on the grill, so I just apply that liberally to the chicken. Ideally I would do this the night before or a few hours in advance, but for right now, I want to make sure at least we just give it a little bit of time while we go on to preparing some of the other parts of the meal. Chicken seasoned, now we're going to get started on the rice and peas. So when it comes to rice and peas, we got our pot right over here. I'm going to start with a little bit of oil. Spray it a little bit liberally in there too. Coat in the pan a little. But now that we got that in there, I like to throw some garlic. So should be pretty warm yet. So we're just gonna fry up some garlic.
How much garlic's in there, do you think?
I think that's probably about 2 tablespoons. When I cook with my kids, because I do a lot of cooking with my kids, whenever the recipe calls for an amount of garlic, we always double it. So
nice.
My kids are always laughing like, 3 cloves? Let's do 6, Daddy. And then we got some chili flakes. Now I'm not going to use all of the chili flakes, but I just throw in a little bit.
What's going on in your world since COVID? What have you been doing?
Surprisingly, I've been very busy. So I know that sometimes with COVID, people aren't sure what to do, but for me, it's been a really busy time. One thing I've been doing is working on a lot of new music. So I've released 3 songs in the last 3 months, and then I've got a new song that I'm releasing. So the new single is called Can't Wait. And
Can't wait for this to be over?
Exactly. Well, I love it because you use it so much sentences. Like, I can't wait to release the new song. Can't wait. Especially in the time that we're living in, I think it's important to look forward to things. That's one of the things I miss about not traveling, is not just the trip, but just throwing it on the calendar and being like, I can't wait to go away, whether it's with your family, whether it's to travel and tour or to go to a music conference. That anticipation. So yeah, I can't wait for COVID to be over too.
I don't know if you recall, man, but the first time we met was in France.
That's right, yeah, 100%.
So, and it's funny, we both live in Toronto, or the GTA.
Yeah.
But I think that's where we spent the most time together, is in France.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing about going to music conferences, is that sometimes you got to go around the world to connect with people in your own backyard. But that's another tip I give to musicians and business people, is when you see somebody over there at a conference like Midem, take advantage of it, because so many times people will say to me, Dio, I'd love to talk to you. Like, it'd be great if we set something up. And I'm just like, well, we're here right now. Let's talk. Because when I get back to the city, you know, I'm busy. I got my family, I got business. So take advantage of those moments when you're on the road. Back to the cooking. Now that we've got this going a little bit, you can see, you know, it's just browning up a little. I'm gonna go straight in with the rice. Just so the rice is coated with all the seasoning, spread throughout. Put a little bit of white wine. I think this was about a cup, I would say. Yep. I'm gonna leave a little bit in case I get thirsty. But now that we got that going, again, I'm just gonna stir it up.
Oh man, that smells great already.
Oh, thank you. We can start rocking and rolling with some chicken broth. Now, this is cool because we didn't talk about this, but I don't have a measuring cup or anything out here, so I'm just gonna kind of freestyle pour it. But I find with rice and peas, you kind of got to bring it along slow. So now that I put in the chicken broth, I'm going to put in some of the coconut milk. And again, I'm just going to go in with it slow. So that would just be about half of a cup. And just wait till we can bring it to a boil.
So first and foremost, you're an artist, would you say?
I am an artist.
Yeah.
I like being an artist and being in it so long that I can still stay that I am an artist. But I do have a lot of extracurricular activities that go along with it too.
A lot of side hustles, eh?
Yeah, I think being an artist nowadays, it is all about your side hustles, and whether it's multiple streams of revenue or just different ways to brand yourself and expand, especially when you've been doing it a long time.
Let's start with the basics. How did you get into it?
I started freestyling when I was a teenager, and I'd go to parties and people would ask me different topics to rap about. And so from freestyling, my friends would always say, you know, you got to make a demo, you got to make a CD. And that really started me off being an independent artist, pressing my first CD, recording it in a studio, and then I set a Guinness World Record for the world's longest freestyle rap, when I rapped for 8 hours and 45 minutes. So that kind of really just pushed my artistic career a little bit forward as well. Now that we're coming to a boil, just going to take the lid, put it on, and let it simmer out a little bit. Rice is all set, so we're on to the chicken. Smells good already, just with the seasoning on top. So, just gonna layer those out.
I forgot that we have something in common, something else in common.
Yeah, what's that?
We both met Snoop Dogg.
Oh yeah.
You rapped with him.
Yeah, rapping with Snoop Dogg was a dream come true. So I met him at an NBA All-Star event when it was in Toronto. And for me, like I said, it was a dream come true because I had to do a freestyle, and they asked him for 3 things for me to rap about. His 3 things were rap about the city of Toronto, rap about the NBA All-Star game, and rap about me, Snoop Dogg. And it's one of those moments where preparation meets opportunity, because I'm like, oh man, like I could go all day with this. I know a lot about Toronto. I know a lot about NBA. There was You know, Mo P, the classic rapper, right there. And then when it comes to Snoop Dogg, I could take it all the way back to Doggy Style, or when he was with Dr. Dre. So needless to say, it went very well. Yes, I always like to come back to the rice and peas, just see how they're doing, stir it up a little, make sure there's enough liquid. I'm not really concerned about having too much liquid at this point. All right, we're gonna get started on the coleslaw. So I love making coleslaw because it's easy and you wanna have a little bit of greens while you're eating, you know, your protein and your carbohydrate. So I like to just pick up a mix of coleslaw, which you can find at any grocery store. Throw it in there. So with the dressing, I've got a few different ingredients here. A little Dijon mustard. So I like the mustard because it gives it a little kick. I'm gonna put about half a teaspoon because Dijon mustard is very powerful stuff. It packs a lot of punch. Now we got a little apple cider vinegar. This is something, as I mentioned, I cook with my kids a lot and they will spill a lot of it in there. So I'm always very delicate with it, but I like to put about a teaspoon in there. With mayonnaise, this is gonna make the bulk of it. I don't like going too crazy with mayonnaise. I hate when I go out for coleslaw and all you just taste is the mayonnaise. So this is a heaping teaspoon, so that would probably be about 2 teaspoons. And then when it comes to the honey, this makes it sweet without adding, you know, just sugar. This is natural sweetness, so I love the honey and just the taste that it gives it too. So another heaping teaspoon, mix it all in here. And you can always adjust it a little afterwards too. A little bit more of anything you need.
Favorite country to eat in?
I gotta say the Netherlands would come to mind right now because I was supposed to be in the Netherlands for Amsterdam dance event. So I love the Netherlands, and I call it the Netherlands as opposed to Amsterdam because so many people will just say Amsterdam thinking that's the whole country. But I've spent some time in Groningen and I've spent some time in Rotterdam as well. So I've got a lot of love for that country as a whole.
Cool. And where's your go-to restaurant in Toronto?
My favorite restaurant, I'd have to say, is Grazzi's, and it's an Italian restaurant, and I live in an Italian area in Toronto, in Vaughan, in Woodbridge, so Grazzi's makes great Italian food, and I'm not always like a guy who wants to go out for Italian food. I'd say it's the best, and I just love their service there too. It's impeccable, so you get that full experience when you go there.
Yeah. So in normal times you run a conference.
That's right, Northern Power Summit. You know,
Oh, there we
represent
go.
right
Got the
there.
t-shirt.
This was going to be the 5th year for the conference, and we're just trying to do something for the urban music community in Canada because it's a really underrepresented community. I wanted to kind of give the newer generation as well as the established generation some more of the tools, also connect them with some of the people that I've had a chance to meet on the road, because I've met people who run festivals in Croatia or events in the Netherlands or in the United States. So to bring them together and connect with some of these great talented artists that we have here. And I'm excited to say we still are going to be running, but in a little different venue, a little different forum. But it's great for us to keep it going even during COVID.
And do you feel a shift happening? Like, is there more support for urban music now in Canada?
Well, it's very interesting now that you've had the Black Lives Matter movement. And what that has done is it's really made people in the music business and the Canadian music business a little bit more cognizant of the difficulties and the challenges that a lot of people of color go through. But racism is something that I've seen happen a lot in my career, and I know it's impacted a lot of others. So I'm glad that people are paying attention to it, but we still got a long way to go when it comes to the business and in this country and being accepted by the mainstream Canadian industry, which has traditionally been rock and country. It's an eye-opener for the Canadian industry to recognize it. And to me, I'm surprised that that people haven't noticed it. One of my biggest challenges was, for so many years, I was the darkest person in the room. This is at members associations, this is at the Junos, this is at Canadian Music Week events, and I'm not a very dark brother. So the fact that there was only a few people of color in those rooms, and especially in positions of power when it came to different organizations, different labels, is something that as a person of color you click onto right away. The other thing I'll say about it is I've also been in positions where I've talked to people and it kind of goes one of two ways, because I've been in a room talking to a prominent music business journalist, and when I talked about, you know, the lack of coverage, he took it personal, which is something we're seeing a dialogue about too, because I'm just trying to show what my experience is and what other artists are, but he was like, but I would never do that. You know I'm not racist. And I'm just like, easy. I'm just pointing out what the issue is. But the flip side is, I remember after SoCan Awards, we went out, there was half people of color and half that weren't. And it was actually cool that those guys felt comfortable saying, like, we want to help, but we just don't know what to do. Fast forward to the Juno Awards, I couldn't get into the Universal Party, and I saw the one guy there, and I said, this is what I'm talking about, because we were supposed to be on a list, like this was cleared ahead of time. They're looking at me and my friends like we're some young punks, or old punks, but, and I said, this is what I'm talking about. And he went up and talked to them, double checked, my name was on the list, and we got in. So it was nice of him to do it, but it was also nice for him to see what we face sometimes, because I shouldn't have even been in that position where I had to ask someone else to go get me in when I'm on the list. It's tough. A little bit more coconut milk. Chicken is coming along great. Well, my favorite part with this really is when you get down to the barbecue sauce. This really brings it all together.
Yeah, so I've always admired your networking skills, watching you at a conference. What's your approach?
I think one of the things I learned is to be personable with people. And I learned that from university, because I'd go to career events and I'd see people go up to the older men or women in the crowd that, you know, we knew who they were. People would just go to them as not as a person, just as a business person or as a fan. And they'd start talking about that right away. And I remember there was a guy I met at one of those, and it was a casual event, so I was wearing a basketball jersey. And so when I started talking to him, he just asked me about the basketball player and said, like, do I know who he was? Because it was a throwback old school jersey. So I said, yeah, of course. And so we spent the next 15-20 minutes just talking about basketball. And then eventually we started talking business. And I think he respected the fact that I just didn't approach him that way about business first. So when I go to a music conference, I just try to talk almost about anything except business. But of course you do get to the business element at the end. And I think really business, when you go to a conference, is all about the follow-up. So when you follow up with somebody when you're back at home, then you can get a little bit more into the nuts and bolts of it. But it's really important to establish a personal connection and rapport with someone, and that's what you have the ability to do with at a conference. So now that we're here with the rice, you can see all the liquid's gone away. I've added more chicken broth and coconut milk to it. I always like testing it. You got to try it, because you got to make sure it's cooked. Now we add the black eyed peas. So you don't put this in at the same time. You let the rice cook. Now,
So you're really just warming up the black eyed peas?
yeah, you just have to warm them up. It's pretty much good to go.
All right, so we're all set to plate.
All right, yeah, we got the rice and peas, and we got the chicken. Oh yeah, knocking them out in the kitchen.
I really don't care whose chicken we have. I just want dinner.